CM 365, all about Carnatic music.
Today I am going to share with you something interesting on the topic of imitation in Carnatic music or music itself. This is indeed a debatable topic, and I would appreciate it if you could also share your own views, which means that you need not really agree with me. You can also disagree with me, but if you can express it, I would be too happy to know your views as well. Recently, I had put a posting in FB, a small message that by replicating someone, you don't become a great musician. You have to evolve. I repeat this again for your attention. By replicating someone, you don't become a great musician. You have to evolve. Well, coming from a Carnatic musician like me, people thought that this was relevant, or rather I was referring to Carnatic music and said that, well, in the domain of Carnatic music, this kind of replication, imitation is very, very important in the initial stages where one learns from the guru. So this kind of trying to imitate the guru in terms of the music, the body language, all this we are seeing in our practical life also. We are seeing this happening. And they kept saying that many of them passed remark that this is indeed very essential. Well, I do agree that trying to replicate what the guru says, that is trying to absorb what the guru is teaching and trying to reproduce it verbatim, is very important in the initial stage so that you stick to a particular path. But then finally, if you want to become a successful musician, you have to evolve. Now, another point here is that I was actually not referring to any classical musician here. This was in connection to a video which is going viral in the social media. One boy is singing the song Rangapura Vihara verbatim, like how Harish Shivaramakrishnan is sung in the Agam. That group, he's been singing that song, and that song is very popular as rendered by him. This boy has rendered this particular song the same way as Harish has done. And even in the Alapana, which is supposed to be in the domain of Manodharma, all that he has sung it exactly like how the original singer has sung. In fact, all the voice dynamics, the voice throw, everything, you are even not able to separate the two, and sometimes you just think that it is a carbon copy of the original. It does sound amazing, of course, and it requires a skill of a different kind, definitely I agree, to be able to sing verbatim like somebody else. Of course, for me it is a very difficult proposition to do that. So I definitely do admire that, and even in the reality shows, the music shows, we see that this is the skill that is most required to be a competent, when you want to participate in that particular reality shows. How effectively you are able to match your singing to the original is what makes you the winner here. And we also see that here the point about what I wanted to actually further as an extension share here is not just about the singing by this boy, but the kind of remarks that were made on his singing by different people. Like one of them, or rather I would say many of them, said that, oh, this boy is so talented. Music directors like Ilayaraja, Rahman and the like should definitely give him an opportunity to sing in films. And some more people said that he is singing so splendidly this classical composition, he should be given a lot of opportunity to sing kacheris. Now regarding these 2 points, I just wanted to share my own personal views. You may differ, and if you really have other views, you can share with me also. You can actually replicate someone without knowing any of the nuances of the music. In fact, even in Carnatic music, we see that many Rasikas can in fact sing a Todi or a Bhairavi much better than a performer because of the fact that he has heard it so many times and he has also absorbed it so well. Coming back to the realm of this light music, we see that here this process of repeating verbatim is very, very important. And here what is important is an excellent listening skill. And of course, a God-given gifted voice is important, because whatever you listen, if you want to produce, you need a good voice. But if you were to sing a song in a film as instructed by a music director, you are not actually going to carbon copy somebody. Here you have to show what you are. That song should speak of your own inimitable style. It should speak as your music. That is very important. So here we see that rather than being a carbon copy of someone, it is more important that when you become a playback singer, you have to try to put in your own inputs in terms of the musical thought process, and then you have to create it in such a way that it actually casts a indelible mark on the listeners and whoever it is. So in this context, probably I could make a mention of great singers like S.P. Balasubramaniam, P. Susila, S. Janaki, J. Sudha, Swani Jaram, and so on in the South Indian domain. Of course, in North, like that, in each region we have specific singers. But what made them stand apart is because of the fact that they cast their indelible mark, their own individual stamp through their singing. Now, if they were actually trying to replicate somebody else, I'm sure that they would have just fizzled out and nobody would have even taken notice of them. So here, what I want to convey is that your musical thought process is more important. So you should have some cognizance of the music. You should have some understanding of what the system is all about and many things. Because you do not have any original to replicate here. You are going to be the original and people are going to replicate you. So how beautifully you create the original form all depends on your own musical ability. Then coming to the next point about someone saying that he should be given a chance to perform kacheris, lot of opportunity for performance should be given. I humbly feel that just because he sang that song Rangapura Vihara so beautifully, he is definitely not ready for singing a kacheri, because a kacheri is not about singing a particular or singular song. To become a concert performer, you have to develop your own content. You have to understand your strength, your weakness. You have to work on your manodharma. You have to learn a number of compositions. But more than anything, there are in fact many people who have a wide repertoire of compositions but have never become successful as concert performers. Because I always believe that the concert, the way of arranging a concert itself is an art. Music is an art, but arranging that music is another big art. So anybody and everybody cannot become a concert performer, where you actually have to first of all undergo years of training from a guru. You have to understand the system. You have to listen to a lot of stalwarts, imbibe the best of the musical values from them, absorb it, and then finally only you are able to come out as a great musician. And of course, as I said, for a successful performer, it is not just about putting together a few songs. How to present the songs, which song should have the manodharma aspects, how much of manodharma, what is the proportion, how to interact with accompaniments. There are so many things involved if you want to become a successful concert performer. So just by singing one song beautifully as a carbon copy of somebody, you cannot become a great kacheri performer, and this also I wanted to draw your point to. Here I would like to bring to your attention one example, a concrete example to make it more clear and explicit, in the sense that sometimes, as I said, the replication process, which I was mentioning earlier also, if you try to imitate somebody or replicate somebody, it does not take you to anywhere actually. Many years back, I remember one youngster who came in, like a wave in the Carnatic music field. He was an exact carbon copy of GNB's music. He used to sing exactly verbatim like GNB, even the voice timbre, voice modulation, everything, when you heard, you felt as if it was an absolute carbon copy of GNB. So at that time, temporarily, it created a lot of excitement among the Rasikas that, oh, here is somebody who is able to sing exactly like GNB. But after that, he did not make any progress. He just kept singing the same way as GNB. So a carbon copy is never, it doesn't last as much as the original. So here also, after a point, what happened? He fizzled out. As a contrast to the same GNB and his disciple, one example I can give you is of Tanjavur Sri Kalyan Raman, who was definitely a disciple of GNB, but then he took the best from him and then finally he evolved he actually created a niche for himself. He created a separate path for himself. And that is why even today we remember him for his contribution to music, where he did in his music and find the beautiful values of the GNB Bani, but he created his own beautiful path. He has created something by evolving, that is very, very important. And that is why today also we remember him and his great contribution to music. So thus we see that here, once again, if the student just sings verbatim like the guru, what happens is that the imagination gets stunted and he does not really go far. You should come out of the shell and develop your identity. Actually, this maturity comes when you actually evolve. That evolution is very, very important in music. You may have a lot of elements as part of absorption from the music of maestros, which is very, very important, because listening is a very, very important aspect of any music. Then only you are able to understand and imbibe the rich values. The next thing is, after listening and absorption, trying to imbibe that the best values is also vital. And there is no harm actually in being passionate about a particular musician or a particular guru or a particular Bani, because in fact that is also the first step, I would say, for you to come into the fold of music. If I, in fact, as a child, if I came into music, probably I heard some great musician and I wanted to imbibe those values, or I wanted to even come into the fold of Carnatic music because I heard somebody and became a fan of this. So that way, trying to imitate that person is nothing wrong actually in the initial stages. But what I want to convey is that just that replication or imitation will not carry a musician far. At one point, what will happen that he will just stagnate and he will become totally go into oblivion. So the whole point here is that whether you imitate somebody, whether you try to replicate somebody, whether you try to kind of take something good from some musician, everything has to be assimilated within you. And after a period of time, what is important is that you should evolve. You should create your own path. You should create your own style. You should create your own indelible mark, so as to remain for long, I would say, in the music field. If you want to be remembered by all, you have to create a distinct identity for yourself. And this comes only by your being able to evolve yourself over a period of time.
CM 365, all about Carnatic music.